you after we get the milk. Oh, do I see some beautiful eyes back there? No, I do not. He just turned his head. All right, everybody. We will see you in a little bit. All right, everybody. We are back home. Dinner is done. Little man is in bed. And we are finally going to get to starting this Velvetta cheese. I bought 3 gallons of milk. We're only going to use 2 for this. And the first thing we need to do is get it in our pot. And we want to start heating it up to 140 degrees. We are not skimming any of the cream off of it. We are putting it all into the pot. As I said, I'm just going to dump both gallons of milk into our big pot. I want to make sure I get all the cream I can. So I will give it a good shaking up in the jug. There's one. I want to keep 3/4 of a cup of the milk out. Some dirt. Because I am going to use that later on in the recipe. I've got the meat thermometer out because again we're bringing it up to 140 degrees. According to this, the milk is still only 59 degrees, even after sitting out on the counter for the last 3 hours. So we got a ways to go. One thing I will say is this recipe is all new to me. I have never in my life made Velvetta cheese. And I saw this recipe and thought, you know, that'd be kind of cool to try. And my son's been in the mood for homemade mac and cheese, so it would be a win-win situation. Plus, I'm kind of curious on how it would taste on a grilled cheese sandwich. So we might have to test those out. So once again, I have this set up with the thermometer right in there. I wrapped it around the wooden spoon so that way it stays right in there, and when it hits temperature it will let me know. I am using another wooden spoon to mix it up. We don't want any scorching, and I've only got this on a medium heat. We're at 102. So we got just a few more minutes to go. And I do have the other ingredients already measured out. Remember, the ingredients I'm giving you is for 2 gallons. Drinking just straight water tonight. I was going to have me a cup of coffee because normally about this time I'm getting ready to go to bed. And I've got a couple-hour project here. I don't think this is so much hard as it is time-consuming, because there will be times we have to sit and let things... Oh, I know an hour of it is just going to be in waiting time for things to drain or chemicals to work. So while we are sitting here waiting for it to come up to temperature, I will tell you, I am glad that I bought that citric acid, because in order to make this, we do need the citric acid. We could also use lemons, but since I have the citric acid, that's what we're going to use. And for 2 gallons, I have measured out 4 tablespoons of it. And once this hits temperature, what we're going to do is we are going to dump them 4 tablespoons of citric acid into the milk. And what that's going to do is it's going to separate the whey from the cheese. That sound means we have hit 140 degrees. We will take this off. We will turn the heat off. We will add our 4 tablespoons of citric acid. Give it a little mix up. Make sure it gets all stirred in. Oh yeah, we can see it's already working. And we're going to put the lid on and let this sit for about a half hour. So I just wanted to show you just what it looks like after 10 minutes. Definitely good separation. All right, everybody, it's been a half hour. We've taken the lid off and it looks awesome. I don't know if you can see. See the good separation we've got? I'll show you better here in a second. Now the next step is we are going to pour the cheese through the strainer. Most people use cheesecloth. I again have my mesh bag that I use. I am going to save this whey. I have not decided. I thought about possibly trying to make some more ricotta cheese again out of this. I don't know if it depends on if I have the time or not tomorrow. But either way, it's definitely the leftovers going to the pigs, without a doubt. So, without further ado, let's get on with making this cheese. I want to show you, as you can see, this is good and separated. See that beautiful whey? So let's get this poured out. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me with one hand. Here on this one, it's still draining pretty good. And it's almost to the point to where we can take and really squeeze it. But we're going to just let this sit. I'll put it over the big one. We're going to let this drip for a good half hour. And while it's dripping, we are going to start the second part of the Velvetta cheese. For this next section, I will turn the heat on to about medium. I will take a stick of butter that I had made, and we will melt that. Watch this on the smaller bag. That's from just a little bit of squeezing. Now that the butter has melted, I'm going to add 2/3 cup of milk. And then this is where you would add the cheese powder. I am just using a package from some mac and cheese. Helps just to add the color that we want for Velvetta cheese. We'll just mix it all in. Turn the heat down just a tad. I don't want anything to burn. And really, if I make homemade mac and cheese, what's going to happen to them noodles? They're going to get used in it. For 2 gallons, the recipe calls for 4 to 5 tablespoons of cheese powder. So I'm just going to mix this up until it gets nice and bubbly. Then we're going to add 2 level teaspoons of baking soda. And we don't want it to scorch, so we don't want our fire too hot. Now that this is nice and bubbly, we're going to add baking soda. And it's going to foam right up. See that? Turn the heat down just a little bit. Now I wanted to show you, after straining this is the amount of cheese we ended up with. Now we're going to take this cheese and break it up into pieces, and we're going to put it in to start melting it all together. And we're just going to keep mixing it. We want to mix this till it's nice and creamy and silky. All right, we're almost there. One thing I will say, make sure you do keep stirring it the whole time. Almost there. Okay, I'm going to say that's nice and silky. So I have prepared 2 bread loaf pans that are glass. You can line this with saran wrap. I sprayed it with a little bit of oil. If you don't have glass, because it's supposed to separate away from the glass when it cools, if you don't have glass, just line whatever you use for your mold with saran wrap. I'm going to go get that pot and we're going to dump it in. All I'm going to do is dump it in. It's got the consistency of Velvetta. Tastes just like it. Just a little creamier and not as salty, because I did not add any salt to this. You can add salt if you'd like. I am choosing not to. I think it tastes great without it. I don't think I need it. So now I'm going to let these cool at room temperature. Then I will put them into the refrigerator overnight. I will cover them with saran wrap before I put them in the refrigerator. And I will see you in the morning. All right, everybody, it is the next day. And look at our Velvetta cheese. It came out pretty darn good, I would have to say. It's nice. And if you look, it pulls away from the sides really easily. So I'm going to go pop this out, and then we will go from there. So let's take a look and see how easy it is for the cheese to pop out. Again, I don't know if you can see. I can put this knife up against it, pulls right away. So this popped right out. No problems. Let's do it with the big one. Just kind of go along the edge a little bit, push it away. Unstick it from the bottom a little bit. Look at that. It does pop right out. We have homemade Velvetta. Let's see how it cuts. Cuts fine. Cuts good. Looks like Velvetta. Same texture. And as I tasted last night, it tasted like Velvetta. So there we go. Thanks everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video where we will be using this cheese. Thanks everybody. Toodles.